in a bright and cheerful town along the coast of America, where seagulls sang above the waves and children rode their bicycles down sunny streets, lived a charming green parrot named Pepper. Pepper was no ordinary parrot. He was known across the neighborhood as the cleverest parrot in America. He lived with a kind lady named Mrs. Willow, who had rescued him when he was a tiny chick. Pepper had shiny green feathers mixed with streaks of blue, and his eyes sparkled like little black marbles. What made him truly special, though, was his intelligence. Pepper could unlock small latches, remember faces, imitate voices perfectly, and solve tricky puzzles that even adults found challenging. Mrs. Willow often said, "Pepper isn't just a bird, he's a little genius with wings." Every morning, Pepper perched on the windowsill, greeting joggers with a cheerful, "Good morning. Have a great day." The joggers always laughed and waved, delighted to be greeted by such a polite parrot. Children passing by would shout, "Hi, Pepper," and Pepper would reply, "Hi, stay awesome," making the kids giggle. Life was peaceful and pleasant until one warm summer afternoon, when something unusual happened in the neighborhood. Mrs. Willow was busy preparing lemonade when Pepper noticed smoke rising from behind the Johnsons' house across the street. It wasn't the thick black smoke of a fire, but it was enough to worry him. Then Pepper heard faint crying, small, frightened cries. Pepper fluttered anxiously. His sharp ears and keen mind told him something was wrong. Without wasting a moment, he flew straight out of the open window and toward the Johnsons' backyard. There, under a small shed, Pepper spotted Milo, the Johnsons' little 3-year-old boy. Milo had crawled into the shed to find his toy truck, but the shed door had blown closed behind him. A small electrical box nearby was sparking, filling the shed with light smoke. Milo was scared, trapped, and crying for help. Pepper didn't hesitate. He landed near the shed door and tried pecking at the old lock. But it was rusty, and Pepper wasn't strong enough to break it. So he fluttered up to the yard fence and shouted in the voice of Mrs. Willow, "Help! Someone help!" At first, the neighbors thought Mrs. Willow was calling. But when they saw she was still inside her house, they realized something was wrong. Pepper flew frantically in circles, yelling, "Baby shed, hurry!" Mr. Carter, the neighbor next door, finally understood. "Pepper is warning us," he shouted. He ran toward the Johnsons' yard with several neighbors following behind. They heard Milo's cries and rushed to open the shed door. Milo stumbled out into his mother's arms just as she came running home from the grocery store. "Oh, my baby," Mrs. Johnson cried, hugging Milo tightly. "Thank goodness." When the neighbors asked how they knew, Mr. Carter pointed to Pepper, who perched proudly on the fence with his chest puffed out. "It was Pepper," he said. "Pepper saved Milo." The news spread like wildfire. People began calling Pepper the hero parrot. Local reporters came to interview Mrs. Willow. Pepper enjoyed all the attention, especially when people brought him treats like sunflower seeds and fresh apples. Days passed peacefully again until an even bigger challenge tested Pepper's cleverness. One night, while the neighborhood slept under the soft glow of streetlights, a sneaky burglar crept into a house at the end of the street. This house belonged to an elderly man named Grandpa Damien, who collected rare coins. The burglar had discovered this and wanted to steal them. Pepper, perched on his favorite nighttime spot near the window, woke up when he heard unusual footsteps and the creak of a window being forced open. He peeked toward Grandpa Damien's house and noticed the faint beam of a flashlight inside. Pepper instantly knew what was happening. But instead of screaming for help immediately, he decided to use his cleverness again. He flew silently to the maple tree right outside Grandpa Damien's house and listened closely. He heard the burglar whispering, "Where are those coins?" Pepper puffed up, cleared his throat, and in the deep voice of Grandpa Damien shouted, "Who's there?" "I'm calling the police." The burglar froze, his heart pounding. He spun around, expecting to see the old man, but no one was there. Pepper shouted again, this time louder, "Get out! Police are on the way." The burglar panicked and bolted toward the window, but Pepper wasn't finished. He mimicked a barking bulldogger perfect, scary imitation he learned from the neighbor's pet. Woof, woof. The burglar shrieked in fear, dropped his bag of stolen coins, and ran out the back door straight into the arms of Officer Bella, who happened to be patrolling the area. "What's going on here?" Officer Bella asked. The burglar trembled and said there was a barking dog and someone shouting, "I swear." Meanwhile, Pepper fluttered back home quietly before anyone noticed he had slipped out. The next morning, Grandpa Damien discovered Pepper's feathers near his window and realized what had happened. He told the entire neighborhood, "Pepper saved my treasure. That bird has more brains than most people I know." In honor of Pepper's bravery, the town organized a celebration at the community park. Children drew pictures of Pepper wearing a superhero cape. Someone even made a small golden medal shaped like a wing. Mrs. Willow placed the medal around Pepper's neck as everyone cheered, "Long live Pepper the Clever Parrot of America." Pepper chirped happily and repeated, "Stay awesome," making the crowd laugh with joy. From that day on, Pepper continued watching over the neighborhood with his sharp eyes and clever mind. Whether it was helping lost pets find their homes, reminding people to lock their doors, or cheering up sad children with silly jokes, Pepper made life brighter for everyone. And so, the Clever Parrot of America became a beloved legend, proving that courage, kindness, and intelligence can come from even the smallest wings. The end.